What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new released A24 film, and I was actually really excited for this movie when it was announced because the premise sounded really interesting to me. This movie is about professional wrestling, which I'm not very familiar with whatsoever. When I was growing up as a kid, I'd play wrestling games and I knew a little bit about different wrestling characters. I never was really 100% invested in it, but after I heard a little bit about the background as to what this movie was going to be about, it interested me. Knowing A24 produced it made me think it would be a high quality film, and the cast that was involved, I was really excited about it. And I got to check it out on opening night in my area. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is The Iron Claw. The Iron Claw is directed by Sean Durkin, the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. Through tragedy and triumph under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, the brothers seek larger than life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. So, as I said, very unfamiliar with the true story that this is based off of, but I was looking forward to it because of everyone that was involved, and this movie was incredible. I'm actually really surprised at how much I loved it. I expect to probably like it. When I saw the trailer, it looked like it was well shot, looked like it was going to have great performances, but I did not expect for this movie to blow me away. From performances to cinematography to production design to music choices, just everything about this film works so well together, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So, as the plot description states, the film surrounds the Von Erich family, and the main Von Erich that the film follows is Kevin, played by Zac Efron. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to his father, Fritz. He's wrestling. We kind of get an idea to who he is as a person, while his kids are children. They come to the event. They're probably like 5 or 6. He has a conversation with his wife about how important being successful in this industry is. Then we jump to the early 1980s, which is when the film takes place throughout the entirety of the 1980s. And we're with Zac Efron's character, and we see how he trains for wrestling. We see the way that he is perceived by the community. He is absolutely beloved, and all he wants in the world is to be successful in this field and to wrestle with his brothers. And at the beginning of the film, he's wrestling with his brother David, played by Harris Dickinson, who was in Scrapper this year that I absolutely loved. And the two of them do a lot of tag team matches early on, and we can see the shift in momentum between the two, where Kevin seems to have a hard time engaging with the audience, and it seems like how to be successful in the industry is to be able to talk and to be able to hype yourself up. And Zac Efron's character is not as good at that. He's great at the physical part of it. He's great at the wrestling portion, but he's not great at selling himself. And their father is incredibly domineering. He treats them almost as if they are just wrestlers meant to succeed so that he can live vicariously through them. He runs this wrestling company, and he's all about his son succeeding. He controls virtually every facet of their life. They all live at home still. And we're introduced to the other two brothers, Mike, who is the youngest, who is more interested in music. He's not really interested in wrestling whatsoever, and his dad is very pushy about him getting into wrestling. And Carrie, played by Jeremy Allen White, who we don't see for the first 25 or 30 minutes of the film, but we learn that he is training to be an Olympian. And obviously a historical event occurs where he is not able to go to the Olympics, and he is eventually drawn into the wrestling world. And the entire film is the examination of these brothers' relationship, the effects of the kind of domineering presence of their father on their lives, and the ups and downs that occur throughout their lives while they're involved in wrestling. So, as I said, this movie absolutely blew me away. For starters, the performances in this movie are exceptional. The standout being Zac Efron, who honestly I did not expect to be on the short list of one of my favorite performances of the year, but he is exceptional in this movie. He is kind of the brother who keeps everyone together, and while his brothers all kind of get pushed and pulled through different circumstances, he's always kind of the level-headed one who wants to kind of go against the grain as to what his father's doing. He's very much about keeping the brothers together, but you can tell just how insane the almost dictator like presence of their dad is, where he goes to talk to his mother at one point, and his mother says, "Oh, you know, you're only supposed to talk to your brothers about problems. The way your father wants it is for you to talk to your brothers about things. You don't bring things to me." And he's very much like you can't cry if someone dies, you can't show any emotion. You have to dedicate your entire life to wrestling. If he says one person is going to be successful more than the other one, you have to just listen and deal with it. And Zac Efron does such an amazing job through his facial expressions in this movie, really just kind of feeling his pain and understanding the level of trauma he has experienced at the hands of his father. And I was really impressed with his performance from start to finish. Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, who I absolutely love, is fantastic in this film as well. He obviously is heartbroken when he can't go to the Olympics, and when he gets involved in wrestling, he's much more of like the loose cannon. No one really ever knows what he's going to do or what he's going to be involved in, and I think he plays that role really well. And I could go through every performance in this film and kind of break down just how perfectly they fit into the role, but I think everyone was so excellently casted and just delivers really effective and incredible performances. The cinematography and the production design in this is incredible. I love how it captured the aesthetic of the 1980s, even in the presentation of the wrestling events. I really loved the way that this thing was shot. There were a lot of really inventive editing sequences too, where it would cut from scene to scene to scene, and I really liked the way that those transitions worked. It was really well shot, and it made for a very engaging experience. As I said, I thought the soundtrack was also really great. It's a lot of popular songs from the early 80s, and I think that they work really well to kind of create that mood and tone. It has everything I love about a period piece film, especially something from the 80s. And what I thought was so great about this movie is it really kind of looks at dysfunctional family dynamics and how one person can feel that they have all the power to where it negatively impacts everyone else's life. And what's really interesting is the father does not really care about his kids at all. He only cares about this wrestling legacy, and that hopefully one of the children that he has given birth to can live up to the legacy that he was never able to. And so he pushes them so hard and treats them so horribly just because he wants to experience something that he could never experience. And seeing the negative ramifications of those actions, it's heartbreaking. This is one of the most devastating movies I've watched of the year. It is so sad and dour, and it really just kind of builds up, and the trauma just stacks on top of each other by the end of the film. And it's hard to watch in moments because you know that this is all based on a true story. And you know, everyone sees wrestling from the outside perspective. A lot of people just say, oh, it's fixed, oh, it's fake. But this movie does a really great job of showing the impacts on your body and your mind, and how so much of succeeding in the industry is losing again and again so that you can eventually be told that you can win once your presence is established. And I thought all of that exploration into the world of professional wrestling was really interesting as well. And I was just engaged from the very start of this film all the way to the end. It's a little over 2 hours, and I was never bored once. I think it is absolutely incredible. If you get a chance to catch this movie in the theater, I would highly recommend it. So have you seen The Iron Claw? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself, and I'll be excited to check this one out again at some point. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.